my brothers and my sisters. Malachi Tovim here, and what I want to do today is I want to get directly to the point. The point is I was offended over the weekend in that there were some pastors from the Amy Zion Church that suggested that I am a Muslim. Well, let me be clear about this. That couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not a Muslim. I am an Israelite. I'm a descendant from the children of Israel, God's chosen people. And God requires things from the nation of Israel. And the reason he does is because the nation of Israel is his chosen people. Now, in order for us to understand Scripture, we've got to first recognize how God outlined the Bible. And I know some of you think that a white man wrote it and he used the Bible in order to keep us in slavery. That also could not be further from the truth. Now, let me start here. God doesn't deal with religions. God don't deal with religion. God deals with nations. And so therefore, a good place for us to start is to outline the nations that are in Scripture so that you'll understand that God only deals with nations. Here's a good place to start. Let's go ahead and outline the nations that are in Scripture. I want you to know that there's only 18 nations that are in Scripture. And so we're going to go ahead and outline all the nations so that we can understand what God is doing in Scripture. So here are the 12 nations that are in Scripture. When you see these words, you'll know which nation that the Scriptures is referring to. All right, so the first one I'm going to deal with is the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel are God's chosen people. These are the same people that Moses went into Egypt and brought out of Egypt to go to the promised land. So these are the people that God chose to be his people at the bottom of Mount Sinai when he made a covenant with them. The second nation I want to deal with is the nation of Edom. Edom are the white people, or the so-called white people on earth today. And they're not, and the reason I say so-called is because they're not white. They're pinkish looking color. So when you see Edom in the Bible, it's talking about the white man, or the so-called white man. When you see Elam, E-L-A-M, when you see Elam in the Bible, it's talking about the people or the nation of India. E-L-A-M, that is the nation of India. So when you see that in the Bible, know that those are the Indian nations. When you see Ashur, A-S-S-H-U-R, those are today's Assyrians. So when you see that word in the Bible, you know that you're talking about the Assyrians. Aram, A-R-A-M. When you say Aram, or it can also be spelled A-H-R-A-M. When you see that in Scripture, it's talking about the people or the nation of Syria. Aram, the nation of Syria. When you see Ishmael, or the Ishmaelites, that's the Arab nations of today's time. So whenever you see Ishmael or Ishmaelites, it's talking about the Arabs. When you see Moab, Moab is talking about the nation of China. Okay, you got that? When you see Moab, M-O-A-B, that's the nation of China. Anytime you see that in the Scripture, it's talking about the Chinese. Ammon. When you see Ammon in Scripture, A-M-M-O-N, that's talking about the people of Japan, or the nation of Japan. See, each nation have its own identity. So when you see Chinese, you know that's Moab in the Bible. When you see Japanese, that's Ammon in the Bible. When you see the word Cush, C-U-S-H, Cush are the Ethiopians in Scripture. They are the nation of Ethiopia. When you see the word Mizraim, M-E-Z-R-A-I-M, Mizraim.
When you see that word in Scripture, it's talking about the Egyptians or the people in Egypt. And I got to say this, the people in Egypt at one time were black. And what happened is the people from Edom, they went over there and took over their identity. But know that the Egyptians, they were black, especially during the biblical days or the ancient days. When you see the word Puk, those are the North Africans. When you see Pihut in Scripture, those are the North Africans. When you see Canaan, Canaan, when you see that word in the Bible, that's talking about the people of South Africa. And I want you to really, really think about what I'm getting ready to say right now. We don't look like the people of Ethiopia, nor do we look like the northern or southern Africans, nor do we look like the Egyptians. According to Scripture, the dark races are from the line of Ham, which was one of Noah's sons. We're not from the line of Ham. We're from the line of Shem. We are the Negroes. All right? Let's go a little bit further. When you see the word Gomer, Gomer, when you see that in Scripture, it's talking about the people of Turkey or the nation of Turkey. All right? It's talking about the nation of Turkey. When you see the word Gomer, Gomer, it's talking about the nation of Turkey. When you see the word Magog, Magog, when you see the word Magog in Scripture, it's talking about today's Russians. Okay? Javan, Javan, when you see that, it's talking about the Greeks. Now, and I know a lot of you fraternity people, you are, Greek influence. But when you look at what the Greeks actually did to the children of Israel, you're going to understand that there was a Hellenistic period, and the Greeks took advantage of God's chosen people. And all you sororities, you got to understand that your sorority and the customs that you have along with it are the enemy of the Most High God. When you see the word Ashkenaz, Ashkenaz, when you see that word, you got to know that those are the Germans. That's the nation of Germany. Ashkenaz, that's the nation of Germany. When you see the word Tarshith, Tarshhish, when you see that word in the Scriptures, it's talking about the nation of Spain. It's talking about the Spaniards, okay? And finally, the 18th nation that's in Scripture is Kittim, Kittim. When you see that word in Scripture, know that you're talking about the Cyprus people.
Now, out of the 18 nations, God only chose one, and that was the nation of Israel. Now, I know that many of you have heard about the Ten Commandments. And Moses went up on Mount Sinai and came down with the Ten Commandments. And when he came back down, those people at the bottom of the mountain, those were the children of Israel. And let me tell you what the Scriptures say about them. Now, pay attention here. Psalms 147, verse 19 and 20. This is how it reads. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. In other words, Jacob was considered a trickster when he was running around with Esau. And so God had a meeting with Jacob and changed his name to Israel. So that's why the Scripture read, he showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Now this is the part that I want you to really grab a hold of. Then he says, he have not dealt so with any nation. In other words, the only nation that God has ever dealt with is the nation of Israel. He went on to say in Deuteronomy 7 and 6, and this one here is kind of hard for a lot of us to understand because we have been taught other things in Christianity and all the other religion stuff, and we've been taught that God don't have a respect of person. But listen to this scripture. Really listen to Deuteronomy 7:6. He said this: "Thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself." Now get this part: above all people upon the face of the earth. God deals with nations. He chose the nation of Israel and told them that they are a special people above all the people on the face of the earth. Now, I want you to really think about that real hard, because you got this racism thing going on and all that. Yes, God chose the children of Israel to be a special people unto himself above all people on the face of the earth. Now listen, know that you are from the nation of Israel. And when you read Deuteronomy 28, verse 64, it says, "Because they sinned, he scattered them among all the nations." So therefore, we've been scattered. We are the lost sheep that he speaks of in Scripture. Shalom.